All right, guys, welcome to the second part of Unit 4. This is as far as the midterm is going to go. This is units 1 through 4. Okay, this is the last of it. I'm probably going to do 10 questions based on each unit, roughly, maybe 12 here and there. You're not going to have more than 30. I'm just going to do a big selection, so there's a bunch of different ones. So that's all I'm saying about that. So let's dive into this. We're going to talk about some pretty heavy stuff. It's about 45 slides, give or take. I will do my best to go through them in a timely manner. If you ever feel like you need to pause the video, go for it, take a break. This stuff can get a little overwhelming, and I'm warning you guys, this stuff can get a little dry than normal. So here's what we're covering. Intro into directory services, Active Directory, and LDAP are what I'm going to be covering only. I'm not going to go into any other ones because we don't have time to cover domains. And I mean, I mentioned them, but we're not really going to dive into or deploy any. Sorry, itchy eyeball. User and resource management, introduction of platform services in Power Cloud, and containerization. Containerization, they contain things in a container, hence the name. So, what the heck is AD? That's why I call Active Directory, okay? So, here's what it is. Or directory services in general are a directory services database for storing and maintaining information about users and resources. Okay. Directory services are often referred to as directories, user stores, identity stores, or LDAP directories. So they're one and the same technically. And they store information such as usernames, passwords, user preferences, information about devices, and more. Directory services are fundamental elements of any identity and security strategy. Many identities and access management IAM solutions use directory services in conjunction with single sign-on. That's a newer thing, obviously. You just one sign-on for the whole thing, a blanket sign-on with a very heavy password. That's about 12 characters long or more. And it has a bunch of unique things in it with MFA, multi-factor authentication, and identity lifecycle management functionality. So directory service elements. A directory service is usually implemented in software distributed across multiple servers for scalability, performance, and resilience. Enterprise directories services like Microsoft Active Directory, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, that's what we're going to be talking about mostly. A schema that describes the various directory objects, users, servers, printers, and their attributes, names, address, telephone numbers. A universal database or catalog containing detailed information about every object in the directory. An index and query method for users, administrators, and applications to retrieve information from the directory. Replicate functionality, which means copy functionality, for disseminating directory information across distributed servers, just sending information out across servers. Creating functionality for federating directory services across different enterprises and namespaces. Active Directory domain services, that's what it's referring to. Sorry, I keep getting itched today. A directory is a hierarchical structure that stores information about objects on the network. A directory service such as Active Directory Domain Service, ADDS, provides the methods for storing directory data and making this data available to network users and administrators. Active Directory stores information about objects on the network and makes this information easy for administrators to use to find, and users to find and use. Here's what AD looks like. This is actually a picture from my morning job. That's what the top of our AD looks like. But each subfolder here has a bunch of stuff in it. That one was I clicked under org and just expanded it. Those are the machines that literally just hit the network that were imaged probably this morning, and they hadn't been moved into their groups yet. So that's why you see that. Active Directory domain service. Active Directory uses a structural data store as the basis for logical hierarchical organization of directory information. This data store, also known as a directory, contains information about Active Directory objects. Pretty straightforward. This object typically includes shared resources such as servers, volumes, printers, and the network user and computer accounts. Those aren't computer accounts, those are actual computers on the domain. Or on the AD, I'm sorry. See, Active Directory users with their computers. That's why it's cut off. It's console, it's computers, and it's bigger. I kind of fit it within the slide. So, and continuing on here. Security is integrated with Active Directory through logon authentication and access control to objects in the directory. With a single network logon, administrators can manage directory data and organize an organization through their network, and authenticate authorized network users can access resources anywhere on the network. Excuse me for 1 second. Whoops. Sorry about that, guys. Give me 1 second here. I will bold this. I forgot to bold that in the slide, guys. I apologize. So Active Directory groups are a collection of Active Directory objects. This group can include users, computers, other groups, and other AD objects, printers, and what have you, scanners. Types of Active Directory groups, Active Directory security groups. This type of group is used to provide access to a resource security principle. For example, you want to grant a specific group access to files on a network share folder. To do this, you need to create a security group. Pretty straightforward, right? Active Directory distribution groups. This type of group is used to create email distribution lists, usually used in Microsoft Exchange. So yeah, but even Microsoft Exchange now is being phased out. We had it, what was called on-site or on-premise. On-premise is what we refer to it as. And now we've migrated away from that, and it's all cloud-based now. And Microsoft handles it. We don't deal with Exchange anymore because Exchange is just getting old and long in the tooth. There's a phrase that we use. Just it's beyond what its original use, and not because it was no longer supported. It's just wasn't working out. Anyhow, an email sent to such a group will reach all users, recipients in that group. This type of group cannot be used to provide access to domain resources because they are not security enabled. So there's two different types essentially. So user group scopes, or sorry, group scopes for Active Directory. Domain local, used to manage access permissions to different domain resources, files, folders, NTFS permissions, remote desktop access, providing Windows privileges, using in group policy, security filtering, etc. Only in the domain where it was created. A local group cannot be used in another domain. However, a local group may include users from other domains. You can kind of like crisscross that way. A local group can be contained in another local group, but it cannot be added to a global group. Global. This group type can be used to provide access to resources in another domain. In this group, you can add only accounts from the same domain in which the group was created. A global group can be added to another global group and local groups. So they have higher rights than these users, and if you want to add them everywhere else. Universal is recommended to use in a large Active Directory forests. Forests are what when you open like those containers in Active Directory, all that stuff that pops out on the right are called forests. All the objects essentially are in the forest. This is what they call it. Using this group scope, you can define roles and manage resources that are distributed across multiple domains. If your network has many branches connected by WAN, wide area network channels, it is desirable. I'm sorry, I'm using distributed too much. To use universal groups only for rarely changing groups, because changing the universal group causes a global catalog to be replaced throughout the whole enterprise. So anytime you do an update and move somebody around, it changes the whole thing. It references in universal. That's what they're saying. That. Excuse me, guys. So you can change the AD group scope or type, but there are several conditions. You can convert global security groups to a universal if the group is not part of another global group. You can convert a local domain group into a universal one if another local domain group is not added to the list of its members. A universal group can be converted to a local domain group without any restrictions. A universal group can be transformed into a global one if it does not contain another universal group as a member. See, here's what that looks like expanded. This isn't mine though. This is the forest. All this, all the users, all these little groups are forests, essentially. And there's your whole spiel about, all these other things in there. After Active Directory creation, built in the groups, several predefined built-in security groups with the domain locals are created. These predefined groups can be used to control access to shared resources and delegate specific administrative permissions on the domain level. Default AD groups are in a special AD container built in. Only user accounts can be added to these groups. You cannot add built-in AD groups to each other. Group nesting. Russian doll nesting is what it's called, item within item within item, or add users define domain groups to them. So, Active Directory group naming convention best practices. Use only English characters for the group name. That's pretty straightforward, right? For the first letter of the group, the letter that considering the group type G, D, or U, you can find out the group type will probably be ADUC, but it is convenient to see the group type in the name. So just name an accounting for accounting, marketing for marketing, research for research, stuff like that. You kind of want it to make sense. You don't want to have something that says like some kind of gobbledygook, a bunch of random things like what does this do? What is it? Like you don't want to know, right? Like you're typing QWERTY, QWERTY. What does that group mean? Where is it going? You want it to make sense. In the name of the global group, specify the name of the department for which I just said that. In the domain local group name, specifically the purpose of the group and the type of access permissions. Read, R means read, and RW means read write, so they can access and edit. So the domain local groups are used to set access permissions to various resources. This should be reflected in the group name. So here they create a group. Look at that. Creating an Active Directory group using ADU snap-in. The easiest way to create a new group, excuse me, guys. Good Lord. I'm sorry. Copies and settling. The easiest way to create a new group in the AD domain is to use the Active Directory users and computer snap-in. Go to ADOU in which you want to create the new group and click select new group. I might have you guys set up AD. I'm thinking about it still because I don't want to break anything on your server. So we'll see what happens. But it won't be this week because you guys have a midterm. So specifically, a unique group name. Specify, I'm sorry, unique group. Select the group type and scope and click OK. This is just how you set it up. See? That's what it looks like. Group name, remote employees, group name, remote employees, that's ancient. Group scope, domain, global, universal. Group type security or distribution. Distributions for email, remember that. So it'll have to be security. Here's how you add a user. You go to, where is it? Active Directory users and computers, console, double click on it, and the group member probably just click the members, top tab add. It's pretty easy. I'm just going to breeze through this because it's pretty quick stuff. You can also add users to the group by right-clicking it, add group. This is normally how we usually do it because users are kind of spread out sometimes depending on what department they're in. And if they're all like one area, sure, we can highlight them all, right-click add, and it's pretty quick. Or we have to go one by one and find them. Like one's a person from accounting is transferring to marketing or publications or what have you. We got to kind of root them out and then transfer them all by one. This is when you do bulk. You can do this. So, object types. Here's what you can associate with. Know that when adding members to a group, searches are performed only for the following types of objects: user groups, users, groups, and service accounts. If you want to add an AD object to the security group, such as a computer or contact, click on the object type and check the options, contacts, and computers. Now you can select all types of Active Directory objects. So you can add printers that way too. This way they'll have it right off the bat. Ooh. You can set primary groups. This is how you do it. Note that the members tab is in the properties of any Active Directory user. Its primary group specified. Primary groups ID was used to support the Unix POSIX model to control access to resources in the Active Directory. The primary group ID attribute for the user must be the RID relative identifier of the group to which the user is to be associated. By default, all Active Directory users have a primary group ID of 513 domain user group. All right. You can also create new groups from the graphical Active Directory Administrator Center. Right-click on the domain name or OU and select new group. This stuff's pretty easy, guys. I'm not going to like making stuff in Active Directory. Just you got to really configure it. So see here, you would fill out the group name, the scope of what it's covering. See, domain local, so they only have local rights. Global, so you can go anywhere within the organization, or universal, which supersedes all of them, the two. Then you don't want distribution because we're not emailing, right? You can also set a description for the group: enabled, stable, and protect from accidental deletion option, and add users to the group. This one, yeah, that one's actually a pretty nice feature to have because sometimes people delete stuff, not because they meant to, sometimes you click on the wrong thing. So if you know it's very important, like this is a CEO one, right? Group name CEOs. Would you want it to be deleted? No, I don't think so. Then you'd be in a world pain. To remove a user, search for the group by name using global search and open its properties. Go to the members tab, select the user you want to remove, and click the remove button. Pretty straightforward. Click OK. Save your settings. Ta-da! Any changes. So let's get into LDAP, Lightweight Directory Access Protocol. What is LDAP? Companies store usernames, passwords, email addresses, printer collections, and statistic data within directories. LDAP is an open, vendor-neutral application protocol for accessing and maintaining that data. LDAP can also tackle authentication, so users can sign on just once and access many different files on the server. LDAP is a protocol, so it doesn't specify how directory programs work. Instead, it's a form of language that allows users to find the information they need very quickly. LDAP is vendor neutral, so it can be used with a variety of different directory programs. Typically, a directory contains data that is descriptive. Multiple points, such as name and location, come together to define an asset. Static, the information doesn't change much, and when it does, the shifts are subtle. Valuable, data stored within the directory is critical to core business functions, and it's touched over and over again. So, LDAP versus Active Directory. Some people use LDAP and Active Directory interchangeably, like I have, and the habit causes a great deal of confusion. These two tools work together, but they're definitely not the same thing. Active Directory is a proprietary directory tool that is used to organize IT assets such as computers, printers, and users. As a Microsoft product, it's commonly used within the Windows environment. If you have ever worked with Windows on a network, the system underpinnings some of the data. LDAP is a protocol that can read Active Directory, but you can also use it with other programs, including those based on Linux. As a vendor-neutral protocol, you can use this tool to work with all kinds of products that have nothing to do with Windows. So LDAP and Enter they work together to help users, but they don't compete with one another, and they don't do the exact same thing. Sometimes people use, I read ahead, LDAP in concert with other systems through the workday. For example, your employees may use LDAP to connect with printers or verify passwords. Those employees may have switched to Google for email, which doesn't rely on LDAP at all. LDAP isn't new, keep that in mind. The definitive white paper that describes how directory services work and how LDAP should interface was published in 2003. So this is about 20 years old now, guys, going on 21. This thing's almost old enough to drink, but it can vote. Despite its age, LDAP is still in widespread use today. The reason it hasn't changed, when the age-old adage is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. LDAP is fine. It's lightweight, right? So it's not too resource intensive. I mean, it works fine. Until they decide to say it's too slow or out of date, they'll replace LDAP. And I don't mean me. They mean all the people that, standardize this stuff and research things. So when they're going to do it, I don't know. Probably another 15, 20 years. I mean, Cobalt's still around, and Cobalt's a dead language, so. Anywho, guys, on to slide 25. 20 slides to go. Before any search commences, the LDAP must authenticate the user. Two methods are available for that work. Simple. The correct name and password connect the user to the server. Very simple authentication. Simple authentication and security layer. SALSL. You can call it CSL if you want. A secondary service, such as Kerberos, performs authentication before the user can connect. For companies that require additional security, this can be a good option. Some queries originate within the company's walls, but some start on mobile devices or home computers. Most LDAP communication is sent without scrambling or encryption, and that could cause security problems. Most companies use TSL or TLS. TSL. That's a band. Transport layer security to ensure the safety of LDAP messages. People can tackle all sorts of operations with LDAP. They can add, enter a new file to the database, delete, take out a file from the database, search, start a query to find something within the database, compare, examine two files for similarities or differences, and modify, make changes to an existing entry. So here's some terms to understand. The average person tapping away at a computer doesn't need to know the ins and outs of LDAP. So, I'm not trying to be mean here, but like, my mom and dad wouldn't even know what LDAP is. My cousins, if they don't work in the IT industry, they wouldn't even know what it is. Because if you are curious about it, would need to know. Because not because it might just be on the test, but maybe you might use it in the future because it's around everywhere, right? Depending if you want to be a network admin, a server admin, warehouse data admin, cloud administrator, a technician, whatever you guys want to do with it. It's up to you in terms of your education. I'm not telling you what to do. That's not the point. But, Cameron was mentioning he wants to move into junior admin and an admin role. Yeah, that's fine. Like this is where he would use LDAP, for example. Not trying to call Cameron, just using him as an example. But people who work on network security and access must have a deep understanding of core concepts and structures, and the language people use to describe LDAP can be impenetrable. Impenetrable. God, I can't read. For novices, common terms you see it as you begin to learn about LDAP include data models. What type of information sit within your directory? Models help you understand the facets within your LDAP. You could have general information such as an object class, names, how each item is uniquely referenced, functions, how the data is accessed, and security, how users move through authentication. Distinguished names. This is a unique identifier. I can't roll my R's. Of each entry that also describes location within the information tree. Modifications. These are requests LDAP users make to alter data associated with an entry. Defined modification types include adding, deleting, replacing, and increasing. LDAP terms continue. Relative distinguished name, RDN. This is a way of tying DNS together with specific relative location. Schema. Schema is pretty common though. You hear schema a lot. The coding that underpins your LDAP is known as schema. You use this language to describe the format attributes of each item that sits on the server. URLs. That's pretty straightforward, right? You guys should know what URLs are. There's a string that includes the address and port of a server, along with other data that can define a group, provide a location, or refer an operation to another server. Uniform Resource Identifier, URI. It is a string of characters that define a resource. An LDAP query typically involves session connection. The user connects to the server via the LDAP port request. The user submits a query, such as an email lookup to the server. Response. The LDAP protocol queries the directory, finds information, and delivers it to the user. Completion. The user disconnects from LDL that port. The search looks simple, but a great deal of coding makes the function possible. Developers must determine the size limit of the search, the time the server can spend processing it, how many variables can be included in the search, and more. Variables are your characters, like your letters and phrases and things, like how many words would you allow, how many characters, like 15, 20, 18, 15, 60, 30, that's what you have to figure out. Local users are authenticated locally. Right? This is what local users look like back here. I couldn't fit them both. That's why I had to do it this way. AD users are authenticated by a domain controller, which is the guy back here, which is people from work. These are all the people that work there. I wonder if I'm in that one. No, probably not. I would have been here somewhere. Anyway. So, user management. Let's get into it. User management is an organizational function that enables users to access and control digital assets, such as applications, devices, networks, and cloud services. Modern user management services provide end-to-end management of user accounts, including user registration, login, and authentication, single sign-on, and permissions. User management systems allow administrators to manage users. Pretty straightforward, right? What user management systems do. Allow access to devices, software, and other services. This includes managing permissions, monitoring usage, and providing authenticated access. User management is a core part of identity and access management. It's coming at you. User management allows administrators to, so it's all going right to left, groups users according to their needs and roles, define flexible access policies, maintain the security of IT systems, prevent unauthorized access to infrastructure, application, and data, store user detail and credentials, provide a conventional login mechanism for end users, allow users to set and reset passwords. Yeah, that's usually done through external portal. I won't get into it. Allow users to create accounts, requests, not allow, but this is from a book I have. So anyway, use social providers for authentication, federate with an identity provider, give users the freedom to choose from one or more providers, enable multi-factor authentication, assign users rights to system services and applications, manage users' entitlements within service and applications. So here's the functions. User onboarding and offboarding, effective process for adding new users and deactivating departing ones, ensure that only current employees have access to critical access. So would you want someone that's retired to still have access to your stuff? No, I don't think so. Role-based access control, RBAC. Assigns user roles and profiles are used interchangeably. Administrators, user guests, and provides access to resources based on these roles. These minimize the chance of unauthorized access. Profile management allows users to update their personal details, settings, and preferences, enhancing the user experience. Audit trails and monitoring. Trails? No, it says trails. Keeps track of user activities. Oh, it's like logging. That's what it is. Offers insights into who can access what resources and when. This helps in detecting and preventing unauthorized activities. Automated workflows, streamlines administrative tasks like approval process for granting specific permissions. Integration with other systems. Modern users management tools can be integrated with other software such as CRM systems, HR platforms, computer remote management, that's what CRM stands for. Human resource platforms like Workflow, Workday, are the big ones, or anything else. Payday, that's the other one. Or cloud services allow for consistent data and reduced administrative overhead. Password policies enforce the strong password requirements and periodically changes to enhance security. So, more functions. This is fun. RFUCon rules, sorry, used by main systems. Guess, a user who is allowed to access the system but does not have any special privileges. Read-only access, a user who needs to view information in the system but should not be allowed to modify it. Read-write access, a user who needs to view information and also modify it, possibly with some restrictions. Manager, a user who has ownership over a project or other scope within the application. They will typically be able to read, write all data and protect in the project and set permissions for other users. So they have very limited functionality and a little bit of admin capability, but not too much, in only a specific area. Admin, we are. An administrator role typically grants a user the ability to modify, configure, assign permissions to other users, including managers if applicable, which usually is. Super admin, you wear a cape, you think you're awesome, you put SA on your chest. No, I'm kidding. A super admin, also known as a root user, has complete access to all system functions. Let's keep going. So key features of user management service include end-to-end login process, convenient, secure, Login interface support multiple login options. These can include direct login, enterprise, single sign-ons, and social login using existing accounts and services like Google, Facebook, and Twitter. So you know how sometimes you go to a website and it says, "Oh, you want to log in with your Google or your Facebook here instead?" That's what they're referring to. They can use stuff like that. User registration allows users to conveniently self-register for a product or service with post-registration workflow like transactional emails. User profile, built-in UI to display user profiles within your application and allow users to manage their profiles. Enhanced security. Support for multi-factor authentication, token-based authentication. So tokens like a little item you give them, like a software item, like a little icon that they would click on before the authentication. If you're wondering what that is, so they click it on launches, it gives them like a code or it says, "Okay, you're approved," and then you go through. With strong encryption and additional security controls such as account compromise detection, multi-tenancy, ability to support an organization structure from a single team to multiple departments in a large enterprise, to thousands of customers using a product, each with their own team. Self-service account management, ability for users to register for a new account on their own, customize their login, create user profiles, invite other team members, and assign roles. Let's keep going here. User management can improve security by implementing strong authentication methods such as multi-factor authentication. Carefully managing user access to resources and data. User management can reduce administrative costs by reducing costs related to custom passwords and registration issues by 75%. Save $30 per user password reset. It actually, some places does cost money. Normally, if you use most Microsoft products, it's all built in. Reducing administrative costs to manage users' access requests and policies by 80%. 10 more slides. Let me get some water, guys. I'll be right back. All right, guys, let's switch into resource management here. And if you probably noticed, the slide before this was actually a duplicate of one of the slides. So I think I have another duplicate. Let me double check. Be right back. No, it's not a duplicate. It's just a different format. I like to use this format if I can, but if I have too many items, I can't. So I don't know. I feel like this is cleaner. Let me know what you guys think. If you want me to change it up in the future, sure, not a problem. Resource management and information technology refers to the efficient allocation, utilization, optimization of various resources within an IT environment to achieve organizational goals and objectives. Pretty fancy way of saying managing stuff and how many people can access stuff and do stuff with what you have. Do you have 3 users per computer? Do you have 1? Things like that. Does every user also get a laptop? That's what's referring to. So think of it kind of like inventory and warehousing for technology and roles and stuff. These resources can include hardware, software, human resources, time, and financial resources. Budgeting, yeah, it's a big thing because you have to figure out how much, if you replace stuff every 5 years, how much you're going to get. How much did it cost you before? Did it go up? Did it go down? Did you use all of it? Did you not? Does it roll over? Do you not have enough? Can you replace half of it? That's what it's referring to. Effective resource management is crucial for ensuring that IT projects are completed successfully within budget and on schedule. Usually you can be within budget or under budget. Schedule is another thing. It depends how hard your team is, in terms of how hard their work ethic is, or how efficient their work ethic is, and how hard they work. For example, for us, right now we're putting the finishing touches on a building that should have opened 3 years ago. It wasn't delayed by us. I'll tell you that right now. We're usually like the second to last of the teams to go in to do things, but we usually see the building from the process of it's starting, it's in, they got power, cool, when network's about to be configured, network team lets us know, okay, it's ready, network's up. All the ports are worked, but we haven't flipped them because we have 2 sides, right? One's instructional that they put the whole new buildings to it because they don't want the vendors to plug in and access the internet and do things, so that they can't access anything out. When we go in, they switch it to non-instructional side, so we can plug everything in, image it, and then we leave it as is or reconfigure for student side or whatever we need it to do. So as far as that goes for projects, for us, normally we get like 2.5 month window in general to get it all installed, plugged in, image ready to go and configured. We usually do it within a month flat, and that's working on it about 5 to 6 hours a day, and 2 hours are dedicated to the rest of the campus here and there. We rotate people in and out. That's how we usually do it. Things fall behind, then it becomes, instead of a team of 4 people normally, everyone's all hands on deck, and we just knock it out of the park within a week, and then we're done, and we just chill, and we don't worry about it. So that's just an example of how we do things. Now, you guys are going to do this. I don't know how you guys will, depending where you are, where you work, or whatnot, but kind of things like that where you expect. Give me a second here, guys. Effective resource management in IT requires a combination of strategic planning, communication, and the use of tools and technologies to monitor, track, and allocate resources efficiently. It helps organizations achieve their IT objectives while minimizing costs and maximizing the value of their investment. Almost done, guys, I swear. Almost done, 7 slides. So resource management, human resource management involves the allocation and scheduling of IT personnel to various projects and tasks based on their skill, expertise, and availability. Ensures that the right people are assigned to the right projects to maximize efficiency and productivity. Hardware and software resource management software. That sounds like a bootleg version of the Force from Star Wars, guys. I'm sorry. Involves the allocation and optimization of physical and virtual hardware resources such as servers, storage, and network devices. Manages the deployment and usage of software applications and licenses to ensure that they are utilized effectively and in compliance with licensing agreements. Time management involves creating and adhering to project timelines and schedules, ensures that tasks are completed on time and that project milestones are achieved according to the project plan. If you're curious, take a project management class. It's pretty interesting. There's a bunch of different variations of project management, agile, waterfall. My personal favorite ones are waterfall, because you kind of take a huge project, break it up into little itty bitty manageable parts, and just add to it, and then you just build on top of it, on top of it, on top of it until you're done. Makes it more easier. Agile, you move quick, fast, and hard, and you bust it out real quick, and it's great if you like working that way. Just you'll see what you like, but that's not why you guys are curious. It's just so you have an idea of milestones. Milestones are just points to reach in the project until you're done. Anyway, financial resource management involves budgeting and financial planning for IT departments or projects. Yeah, it's both really, because in the department you got a budget, and for projects you usually that's part of your budget in general. So you just divvy it up and how much you give it. Monitors and control projects costs to ensure that they align with the allocated budget. Yeah. So risk management. Oh boy. If you want to get to really something specific in technology and you want to become a risk manager, you can make a good amount of money. Like, I mean, a really dumb amount of money, actually. I wouldn't do it because to me, it's too stressful because you're just being called on 24/7 half the time. But essentially, guys, just remember, like I've said it before, you might hear me saying it, so like beating a dead horse here. You can never mitigate 100% of risk. So whatever budget they give you to mitigate that risk, you use it as effectively as you can. You put it in writing in reports, and you tell them, email them, and have copies of it to cover your butt. Like, look, here's a report. Here are my emails, grand amount or whatever, saying this is how we can do what we covered. This is what happened, and then here's your budget. It improves threefold after something happens. But that's how I see risk management. So identify potential risks to IT projects and develop strategies to mitigate or manage these risks. Ensures that contingency plans are in place to address unforeseen issues that may arise during project implementation. So for us, for example, when we have to deploy machines as part of a project for a new building, we have to wait for them to be done. So if they're not done, for example, putting in windows, and they finish putting in the windows and they water testing, they spray with a giant hose, and oh no, they leak. What? That puts us all behind schedule, but it's not on us. It's like, well, we gotta wait. So instead of imaging when we install windows and stuff, we look at the image in the building. We do it behind in our warehouse or wherever, and it's just things like that. For us, it's not as crazy as some other areas can get, but that's just an example. Capacity planning involves forecasting future resource needs based on the growth and demands of the organization. Helps ensure that the IT infrastructure can support current and future requirements. For example, for us in the back of our warehouse, I haven't taken pictures of it for you guys. I apologize. We have those big AC unit they put in, like when the building went in, and now it's about like 20 plus years old, and it breaks down a lot. So that's a future requirement now we need to change out, and it's gonna be expensive. And we had an issue where a pipe burst and it leaked Freon, and we all had to evacuate. We were out, like literally standing around the building for like a good 6 hours, coming in and out. We're not supposed to go in, but we had to go in to turn things off real quick and all that. So yeah, if you want to know that whole story, I can tell you another time. And it's just, yeah, it's kind of crazy, but that's part of it too. No one thought the AC unit was going to break, and all of a sudden a pipe burst, and no one knew about it until we saw a billowing cloud in the back. Like, get the hell out. So, anywho, communication and collaboration. Facilitate communication and collaboration among team members and stakeholders to ensure that everyone is on the same page regarding project goals, timelines, and resource management. Performance monitoring and optimization involves continuous monitoring of IT systems and processes to identify areas of improvement. Optimize resource usage to enhance overall system performance and efficiency. For this being 40 plus slides, I'm surprised it's only taken me 10 bloody minutes. That's a little terrifying. All right, platforms as a service. Loud stuff. That's what the diagrams look like. That's how they operate in essence. Platforms as a service, PaaS, is a type of cloud computing model in which a service provider delivers a platform to a customer. Pretty straightforward. Platforms as a service definition. Platform as a service refers to a cloud computing model that may be wondering what is a platform as a service cloud computing. PaaS specifically provides a platform for customers to develop, run, and manage applications without building and maintaining the cloud infrastructure required to develop and launch an app. It's like we're renting the space. Give me a second, guys. Someone's talking. PaaS can be delivered in 3 different formats. First is a cloud service from the provider. In this configuration, the customer controls software deployment, with minimal configuration options. The platform as a service provider supplies the networking, servers, storage, operating system, middleware, Java runtime, net runtime, integration, etc., database, and other services to host the customer's application. The second PaaS configuration can be run as a private service, software, or appliance behind a firewall. And finally, the third PaaS configuration can be run as a software deployment on a public infrastructure service such as AWS, Amazon Web Services. That's what AWS stands for. So, introduction to platform as a service continued. Platform as a service benefits include more efficient application development. Platform as a service solutions permit the customer to focus on the application itself. With PaaS, the customer manages applications and data. The provider in public PaaS or IT department in private PaaS manages runtime, middleware, operating systems, virtualization, servers, storage, and networking. Again, it's like they just rent the area to use it. It's like renting like a little market stall is the best way I can describe it. Like to break it down to you need to describe try describing the stuff to your parents. I'm like, huh? You take all the hard words out, all the real technical mumbo jumbo, and you can break it down like to that level. I'm trying to do that for you guys, not because I think you don't get it, you're dumb. That's not the point. It's just you guys make sense of it. That's all. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that, guys, because we're having visitors and no one told me, like always. Development tools offered by the provider are customized according to the needs of the customer. The user can choose to maintain the software or have the provider maintain it. Maintain it. That should be it. I'll fix that. Also, it's a cost. You're paying for this. What are the benefits of PaaS? API development and management. Companies can use PaaS solutions to manage applications, programming interfaces, as well as microservices. That includes security development, creating new APIs, and end-to-end API management. Business analytics intelligence. Some PaaS solutions include tools which empower enterprises to analyze their data for business insights and patterns of behavior. These tools give the organization the required information to make better decisions and more accurately predict things like market demand for products. Business process management. What's the most important? Well, this is how it operates. This is how PaaS is what PaaS is normally used for. So organizations can access a BPM platform delivered as a service through PaaS solutions. PBM suites integrate IT components needed for process management, including data, business rules, and service level agreements. Communication. PaaS can deliver communication platforms that allow developers to add communication features to applications such as voice, video, and messaging. So, or the benefits continued. Databases. A PaaS provider can deliver database services to organizations, just setup and maintenance. Database PaaS is an on-demand, secure, and scalable self-service database model. Provisioning can be automated as well as administration of databases according to analysts from Forrester Research. How the hell? I'll have to delete that. Sorry, guys, that's not important. That shouldn't be in there. This is the last slide, though. Or the last overview slide. Primary data management, MDM, mobile device management, that's what MDM stands for. PDM, or primary data management. Software tracks the most essential company-wide data points, providing a single point of reference for data. From this point of reference, the software provides insights relevant to company operations, clients, and goals. Such data might include reference data, such as information about customer transactions, analytic data to support decision-making. Users can then implement that data as they see fit, keep records of the data history, and make projections based on findings. Operating teams working within the IT team can identify the essential metrics, the entire business, and pinpoint areas of concern, gauge the success of individual departments, increase productivity, and maximize return on investment, ROI. So here's everything we covered for Unit 4, guys. Introduction to Directory Services. I've covered AD is groups, and AD on domain, LDAP, Lightweight Directory Active Protocol, and we know what it stands for. User Resource Management, Introduction to Platforms as a Service, Cloud Computing, and Containerization. So there we go, guys. That is everything I had for Unit 4. You have a midterm to take. I wish you nothing but luck and success, guys. If you have any questions on the questions in the midterm, ask me on Discord. I can simplify them for you. I cannot answer them for you, obviously, but I can try to explain them another way so that you kind of see what I'm talking about. All right, guys. So till then, I will catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Next week is Unit 5, guys. After that, week 6 and Unit 6 for week 6 and a final, and adios. I'll tell you this now. And I will mention again in Unit 6 at the end. You guys are more than welcome to stay in that Discord server. You can message me anytime you like. I will, respond to you as fast as I can normally, and have fun and best of luck, guys. Till then, guys, I will catch you in the next one.